Jagex is planning to make some very big changes in the upcoming months, and there's a lot of new information out there regarding the future of old school RuneScape. So today I want to go over some of these updates, talk about both sides of the story here, how Jagex sees these updates and how the community sees them, and then try to understand if what's happening in the game is good or not. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Firstly, let's start on a positive note. After a lot of back and forth with the community, Jagex came out with a poll to completely rework the Chambers of Xeric raid, aka Raids 1 in Cabos Lowlands. In the poll there was 26 different questions regarding Raids 1 and all of the questions passed the test, which means Raids 1 will be more accessible to new players and experienced players alike. Jagex is planning to change almost every single room in the raid to make it more in line with the current gameplay, and furthermore there are changes to things like potions inside the raid, supply drop changes, puzzle changes. You will be able to choose your own layouts now. Jagex is also gonna buff the mega rare drop Elder Maul and make it more powerful inside chambers. And there are even few adjustments to the final boss, the Great Olm. Since Raids 1 is gonna see a big overhaul, it is safe to say the raid will look brand new once Jagex is done with it. And hopefully more people are willing to give it a try. Next up, we have first brand new information on the biggest updates coming to old school RuneScape. Firstly, we got a little glimpses into the upcoming wave-based minigame in the Colosseum. This will be a roguelike minigame where no two minigame runs are gonna be the same, and it's completely unique to every single player. You will have to fight different monsters inside the Colosseum, and at the end of each round, you are given an option to alter your gameplay in significant ways, buffing the enemies, debuffing yourself, and even changing the terrain of the arena. Whatever choice you make, it will stay there until the rest of the run. After a certain amount of waves, you are also given the option to leave the arena with the loot you already gained. And the further deep into the waves you get, the better rewards you're also given. There is also going to be a new currency that will not be able to measure with gold, and it will be called Glory. This currency can only be obtained inside the Colosseum, and the better you perform during the minigame, the more glory you will gain. So this means taking minimum damage, how quickly you can clear the waves, how many errors you're gonna make during your run, and so on. That glory then can be spent on items inside and outside the Colosseum, and the more glory you have, the more rewards you unlock. These rewards vary from new range weapons, new boots that have ring of recoil effects, new melee armor with prayer bonus, new runes, and so much more. The Colosseum is likely to be released at the start of 2024. Currently, it's estimated around February or March, and Jagex has started to fully develop this update as of this week. Which brings me to my next point. Let me read you the statement Jagex put out. This year's holiday event will be the same as last year, and the reason is simple. Varlamore and the Colosseum are coming up, plus with Leagues 4 and Chambers of Xeric changes in the upcoming months, we made a decision to prioritize developing these updates, which means going forward there will be no new seasonal updates. Instead, we will bring back the old ones. Give us your thoughts on what other holiday events you would like to see. Signed, Jaggy Baggy. So this essentially means that holiday seasons are finally over for now. This will also mean the Christmas and the Easter holiday events that are coming up will be just old events as well. There was even talks about just leaving Christmas and Pride event as the main two events of old school RuneScape, but these are just talks right now and JMod's personal opinions, and nothing is set in stone. There was a lot of constructive criticism from players on this topic. For example, one player on Reddit said that old school RuneScape has always outdone itself on its seasonal events, and now they're just a little bit bummed out it's just a copy paste of the last year's event this time around. On the other hand, some players were saying that if it came down to seasonal events like Halloween or Easter versus game-changing updates like Varlamore or Raids, then Jagex should always prioritize those changes over seasonal events. The main and the biggest concern so far was the Summer Summit event. This is where Jagex announces the rest of the year updates, and this time around there was a total of 8 updates for the rest of the year, which 2 were seasonal events, the Halloween event and the Christmas event. Firstly, players were concerned that seasonal updates were put into the roadmap in the first place, but now it turns out they weren't even original updates and just reworks of old seasonal events, which made OSRS players think it was there just to fill in the empty space. So players were simply saying that if it's an important piece of Jagex's 2023 development plan, it doesn't make sense to just rerun old events. And if you add in the fact that Forestry on this list has now been delayed for months now and likely will not come out very soon, and we still have no information on the new mid-level PVM update, it leaves the second half of 2023 pretty empty, all things considered. We have Leagues 4, a 20-minute quest, and Raids changes, which are also likely not coming out very soon. Furthermore, since in RuneScape 3 seasonal events are now filled with microtransactions, it seems the era of these fun new little mini quests during your favorite time of the year has now officially ended. Personally, I actually agree with Jagex' take here. I think developing updates like Leagues 4, Varlamore, raids, and other new permanent content is so much more important than seasonal holiday events. However, I also think that they should have made it clear months ago that they're not planning to do original seasonal events anymore and not come out with the news on the day of release. Whatever the future looks like for seasonal events, it seems most players are just hoping for more clear feedback regarding if they're part of the developing plan for Jagex or not. Okay, let's talk about the next topic, which is star mining. It's been a massive point of discussion in the past few weeks, and it all started when Jagex made the decision to remove a 6-hour AFK mining method from the game. Players then got upset that they don't have any realistic chill mining methods in the game, since the other one, which is star mining, is oftentimes ruined by hordes of people who destroy the rocks extremely fast. Then Jagex decided to make changes to star mining, making it so it doesn't matter how many players are around the shooting stars, you will still get the maximum amount of AFK time you were looking for. And overnight, shooting stars became the best mining method this game has ever seen. In fact, star mining became so popular that it started to ruin other activities in the game. Every time a star landed in certain server, there would be massive raid of people jumping there, causing everyone else on that server to basically disconnect. One player already put it very well. With the title Shooting Stars rework effectively is DDoSing worlds at random. Clan chats calling stars are causing a massive influx of people to worlds and making them instantly full with 2,000 players. This has noticeable lag effects on everyone else logged into the world. I can't wait until people start DDoSing hardcore streamers by just calling the stars on their world. And that was the main concern. Let's say you are in the middle of a raid and suddenly a star shoots down in your world. Out of nowhere, over 1,000 players jump into your server, which causes the server to spike extremely hard, and that could cause you to die in the raid. And that actually did happen on multiple occasions, which made players extremely upset. So Jagex's first solution was to disable glue scrolls you can get from shooting stars, because that puts an immense amount of pressure on the server. Every time you mine Stardust, you have a chance to gain one glue scroll from beginner to elite. And the server has to check so many different things all at once. Do you have glue scrolls in your bank? Do you have glue scrolls in your inventory? And so on. It's multiple actions in 1 second, and if the server has to check thousands of players for that, it's an immense amount of power. However, that was actually just a temporary solution. There was a lot of other issues at play here as well, like people placing their cannons near the stars, getting thousands of random events while mining the stars, obtaining crystal shards from Prifddinas, and so much more. Players and Jagex soon realized that the issue really boils down to the fact that mining freaking sucks. It's that simple. People just don't want to drain mining as is right now. So when Jagex made these awesome changes to shooting stars, thousands and thousands of players just jumped aboard and tried to get their mining up before Jagex eventually nerfs it, which they did. A few days ago, Jagex announced changes to shooting stars. They now nerfed the AFK time, the star sizes are now on average lower levels, and you also get slightly less experience. Their idea with this was to number 1 make sure the servers are more stable, and number 2 also put effort into other mining methods. Players were not happy with this change at all. Overall, the consensus was that Jagex made the update more popular 1 month ago and now are using that as an excuse to nerf it again, rather than looking at the real problem, which is that nobody really wants to do any other mining methods in the game. Take for example Volcanic Mine, which is currently considered one of the best mining methods skill-wise. It is extremely hard to start even playing the minigame. There is no real tutorial on how the gameplay works efficiently, and oftentimes the most effective way to play it is with 3 or 4 other people, which for most players is difficult to find. You have to find other players who have the same stats, know the game as well as you do, and are willing to put in hours to make it work. And the same thing goes for Blast Mine and Motherlode Mine. The conclusion is that there really isn't an enjoyable mining training method in old school RuneScape, and that's the reason why players want something like shooting stars. There's a massive community social aspect there, others can't really grief your gameplay, and the rewards and experience are fairly decent. It checks all the boxes for enjoyable content for a lot of players. Which brings me to another concern, the rewards. Jagex were worried on how many gems enter the game every single day because of the star mining update, and how you can mine stardust and turn that into gems. If you don't know, the prices of gems has plummeted to all-time low now, and in fact, getting 99 crafting with gems for the first time ever is actually profitable. And all of it is available because of how many gems enter the game every single day. Jagex's initial fix was to double the cost of buying gem packs for stardust, but there was a great post on Reddit showcasing where the majority of gems actually come from, which is Desert Treasure 2 updates. Someone made the maths, and for example, getting gems from star mining yields you about 20 rubies and diamonds per hour, but something like killing Vardorvis yields you over 100 rubies and diamonds per hour, which is also the likely cause for the drop in price. So it's safe to say that you get so many more crafting supplies per hour from bosses than doing actual skilling methods. Luckily, however, today Jagex came out with a new announcement saying that we understood this is a deeper issue rather than just shooting stars, and we need to look at mining as a whole skill to make it work. They pushed back on the gem prices, they made stars more common now, which means there are more stars in more worlds, putting less pressure on the servers, and the best outcome for this was that Jagex is looking to change other methods of mining as well, which includes volcano, volcanic mine, blast mine and mother lode mine, making all of them give better experience, more rewards and make them more accessible. So hopefully this is a start to something good and mining will finally get the love it deserves. And finally, there's been a massive news about Jagex returning items to certain players and not doing the same for others, causing massive uproar because, well, it's unfair. It all started when a popular Diablo 4 streamer got hacked and lost almost 5 billion GP. The streamer didn't have any authenticators and his account had extremely poor security. Someone at Jagex saw that YouTube video and decided to give all the items back to the original owner, which was very suspicious to say the least. The main concern was for players who also have been hacked in the past and yet have received none of their items back. And furthermore, this Diablo streamer doesn't even really promote Otsko RuneScape, they just play it on their own free time. Jagex made a post stating that they need to protect the values of the company, and sometimes that means returning these items back, which left a sour taste in people's mouths. Because they found out that if you get hacked, you won't get your items back, but if a content creator gets hacked, they will likely get their items back. Essentially, it was a big screw you to the community, because for the longest time Jagex has said that we will not return back lost items. And the main cause for that was because they just don't have resources to do that. Even if you go to the support page for lost item policy, it states that Jagex is unable to return items at all in Otsko RuneScape due to technical limitations with the game. However, there are multiple cases like the one you saw before, where in fact Jagex can return items and have done so. So for the community, it seems like Jagex can do that for everyone, but they just choose not to do so. Here is one comment stating their frustration with the updates. You guys have always been able to return items. You just never did because it was a silly thing to start doing in the first place. You can't just pick and choose who gets customer support. Might as well have a content creator's customer support button, which asks how many followers you have before you get help. It's nice that you're willing to give items back to players for in-game bugs and glitches, but getting hacked? WTF. And then he ends with saying that he got hacked before the authenticator was put into Otsko RuneScape and never got his items back. So it seems like players are rightfully upset because Jagex confirmed that going forward, it's likely this is how things are gonna be. But Jagex also realizes that they need to take more precautions with giving back items, because good example was that Diablo 4 streamer we talked about earlier, turned out he didn't even earn his bank, it was just all donations from his viewers. And like we mentioned before, he didn't even bother to secure his account, so it was just pure negligence. Furthermore, it later turned out that he was known for real-world trading, because in his video he offered services in Diablo 4 and accepted Otsko RuneScape code as a payment, along with real-life money. So in a nutshell, Jagex gave back 5 billion GP hacked money to a person who advertises real-world trading in their Discord server. Yeah, that's not a good look. I hope Jagex learned something from this, and it really does boil down to one simple thing. It's better to give support to all players or none at all. And understandably, that's investing a lot of resources if you do decide to start giving back all items. But we have seen other MMOs able to do that. World of Warcraft gives back all your hacked items, and so does Final Fantasy. Both have customer support set up for that purpose, and it works. Hopefully RuneScape will follow the same route. I thank you so much for watching this. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all tomorrow with another video. I love you all very much. Bye.